All right, welcome everyone to our hands-on playground workshop. We are going to figure out exactly why AI hasn't taken over the world yet. I'm your silly quiz master for today, and I am literally so excited to guide you through this explainer. You know, if you've been reading the news lately, you'd probably think robots are about to take every single job on the planet by next Tuesday. But history? Well, history tells a very different and honestly a much funnier story. Today, we are going to look at technology not as some kind of dark magic, but as a giant, cartoonish plumbing system. And as we're going to see, the future isn't being held back by a lack of intelligence. Nope, it's actually being held back by some incredibly goofy, messy clogs in the pipes.
To kick things off, let's play our first guessing game. Back in 1976, Stanford University built an incredibly smart AI system called Mycin. It could identify bacteria and recommend antibiotic treatments for severe infections, just as well, if not better, than most top human infectious disease specialists. But here's the catch. It was never, ever used on a single patient. I'll pause right here so you can shout out your guess. Why on earth did this super smart 1976 medical AI fail completely?
Okay, time's up. The answer is brilliantly ridiculous. Doctors had to spend nearly an hour manually typing patient data into a clunky computer terminal just to get the system to work. It didn't save any time at all. It just created this massive, tedious clog in their workday. I mean, it was literally easier to just diagnose the patient themselves. So the AI was pure genius, but the real-world workflow was an absolute disaster.
Now let's fast forward and see how that exact same problem is happening today. We hear tech CEOs constantly hyping up how AI is going to replace software engineers because it can generate code 100 times faster than a human. But AI still hallucinates. It makes these really silly, confident mistakes. So what actually happens in practice? Well, step 1, the AI writes code instantly. Step 2, it sneaks in a goofy hallucination. And step 3, the human coder now has to spend their entire day just hunting down and debugging the AI's silly mistakes.
The core principle behind all this is called the theory of constraints. This is basically just a fancy system science way of saying that water can only flow as fast as the most cartoonishly clogged pipe in your plumbing. You can widen almost the entire pipe, right? You can make the AI super fast at writing code or diagnosing diseases. But if there's one narrow clogged section left, the whole system just slows to a complete crawl.
And that brilliantly illustrates our main point today. Improving one single task doesn't just eliminate an entire job. Jobs aren't just one task. They're a series of interconnected pipes. When you automate one part, you don't destroy the job. You just shift the bottleneck to a new clogged pipe. For the 1970s AI doctor, the clog just moved over to typing. For the modern AI coder, the clog moved to debugging and fixing disorganized logic. The job doesn't disappear. It just changes shape.
Section 1. The messy real-world test. Puddles, exceptions, and chaos. All right, it is time for our next pop quiz, so get ready to shout out your answer. You probably remember IBM's Watson, right? The genius AI that crushed human champions at the trivia game Jeopardy back in 2011. Well, IBM spent billions trying to use Watson to recommend cancer treatments in real hospitals. It didn't have the typing problem and it couldn't hallucinate like modern AI. But within a few years, it was completely shut down and fired for recommending unsafe treatments. Why do you think IBM's trivia champion AI failed so spectacularly at the hospital?
The crucial point here is that Watson was trained on beautiful, clean, standardized trivia data. But real hospitals? They are absolute chaos. Different doctors use weird abbreviations, records are completely fragmented, and patients have unusual combinations of conditions that the AI had literally never seen before. All these messy, real-world exceptions completely confuse the poor AI.
We call this the last mile problem. It's the final, unique, messy step that makes real-world tech fail catastrophically. It's the exact same reason why self-driving cars have been, just around the corner for 20 years. In normal, perfect conditions, they drive perfectly. But throw in a weird puddle, unpredictable humans, or unexpected roadway barriers, and the AI just completely panics and crashes. Every single industry has its own unique, messy last mile that blocks AI from taking over. Let's picture a scenario to see how this plays out in business. Imagine an appliance company that decides to automate their overwhelmed customer support line with an AI intake form. Step 1, they launch the bot. Step 2, technically, it worked flawlessly. Support tickets moved super fast through the system. But step 3, the customers were actually getting angrier, and the company's reviews were completely tanking. So why did perfect automation actually make things worse?
The punchline to this whole mess is that the customer support speed was never the real problem. The actual clog was their terrible, dense, confusing 500-page instruction manuals that caused customers to make mistakes in the very first place. The automation just covered up the real issue. They ultimately fixed this by tossing the bulky manual, creating a colorful cartoon quick start sheet, and, huge plot twist here, they actually went back to human phone support because talking to real people gave them far better insights.
There is this fantastic quote that really hits the nail on the head. You've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology. A powerful technology means absolutely nothing if it doesn't solve a human problem. This is called product market fit. It's exactly why that incredibly realistic AI video generator Sora was discontinued. It was super cool tech for sure, but it didn't solve a real human need. If a tool doesn't fit the market, it's just another expensive, shiny pipe that goes absolutely nowhere.
Section 2, a funny future jobs forecast. Expanding demand.
Here is your third pop quiz. Back in the 90s, automated teller machines, ATMs, were suddenly popping up everywhere, and everyone panicked, assuming human bank tellers were entirely doomed. Shout out your answer. What actually happened to the total number of human bank teller jobs after the ATM took over cash dispensing?
Surprise! The number of teller jobs actually increased. Because ATMs did the boring cash counting work, the operating cost of running a bank plummeted. And because it was cheaper, banks opened way more branch locations to reach more customers. More branches meant they needed to hire more tellers to handle complex things like loans and customer service. This magic trick is a concept called demand expansion.
And this brings us to our funny future forecast. Today, sure, we are stuck debugging AI typos, but soon, AI is going to make building custom software so incredibly cheap that demand will just explode. In the future, you might not just buy generic software. You might go down to the corner store and have a junior app builder whip up a custom family calendar app for you as casually and easily as getting a quick 15-minute oil change. When costs drop, new demand creates jobs we literally can't even imagine yet.
Section 3, the ultimate giant infrastructure clog. Rebuilding the whole playground.
So when Thomas Edison brought electricity to the world in 1882, it didn't change things overnight. For 50 years, factories just took out their giant central steam engines and swapped them for giant central electric motors, keeping the exact same cramped, dangerous layouts. They were completely stuck at the first bottleneck. True transformation only happened decades later when entirely new factories, cities, and safety codes were redesigned from the ground up around electricity itself. Just like electricity back then, AI is hitting massive societal-level infrastructure clogs today. I mean, we literally don't have enough electrical power grids to run all these new data centers. Workers have zero safety training on how to use AI securely. Our copyright laws are completely outdated for this. And according to our sources, we have greedy, impatient CEOs rushing to lay off workers to cut costs before the new AI systems even function smoothly.
Thanks for watching. Please share, subscribe. Hope you enjoy our family videos and podcast.